what's up? Welcome to Modismos in La Brecha. Today, our modismo is Aguas. So Aguas literally means waters, but when you say Aguas in Mexico, it means be careful. So the story behind the term Aguas is that back in the day, people threw water from their balconies out into the streets and the water would flow. So every time they threw the water, they would scream Aguas and to warn the people below, and then they throw it and people would know, oh, okay, somebody's throwing water, okay, so Aguas, be careful. And so that's the origin story of the modismo Aguas. So if you're playing football and you see a ball flying towards somebody else, you can scream Aguas. Or if you're the co-passenger and you see like somebody crossing the street, you can say Aguas, which is be careful, right? So that's the modismo. Now, last time I mentioned that I wanted to tell you a story about Tecnológico de Monterrey, Tech. And this story really is about one brother. He goes by the name Carlos. Now, I know a few Carloses, so I'm just going to leave it at Carlos. So me and Carlos and a few others had a meeting in Tech in the university. And then when we were leaving, I was so impressed with Carlos because he took a guitar and he went and sat next to another guy who was playing the guitar alone, and he started talking to him about Christ. And I was so impressed with Carlos that he was just going out and evangelizing, and I was like, wow, this is really what we should be doing, you know, we should be really talking to people. And it just struck me really hard, and I was really impressed with Carlos. And another thing that happened, and this is really my reflection upon the whole university and the students there. So I was driving down with another friend he was driving. I was sitting in the co-passenger seat, and I mentioned to him that, you know what, if I was actually studying in this university, if I had the same life you all have in Mexico, it's very likely that I probably wouldn't believe in Christ, and I wouldn't do what I'm doing right now. With all the things that are available to you in the university, with the whole the atheistic movement and the pro-abortion and all those movements, I would be under a lot of pressure to not be Christian. And I was really impressed with these guys that they chose to be Christians, right? And I was just like, hats off to you all, man. So yeah, so that's the story. And so another thing we did as part of the gap year is we went and held Angelus in another university called UDEM. Now this is a Catholic university, and it's a beautiful scenic university. You should, just down below here, you'll see some photos of the university. It's just beautiful, and you can see some mountains from the university, and it was such an amazing experience to go there. And we went there quite, like every week we went there for a few months to hold these Angelus, and it was just an amazing experience to see young people come together and pray. And this was during lunch break, and they could do better things, but they chose to come join us, and it's quite a good experience. So other fun things that I did during this first month and a half, so I went for my first baseball game, and when I went, I didn't know the rules. By the end of the game, I knew the rules. I also went for my first football game, which is American football, and this was really amazing because this was like the El Clásico, but in Mexico, in Monterrey. It was the two top universities competing against each other, and it was a packed stadium, and there was a lot of shouting and screaming, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And that's when I realized, okay, it's quite a violent sport. It's an interesting sport to watch, and I see why people really like it. And even this sport, I didn't know the rules, and only after I went there and I started watching it, and I had to keep asking the friends I went with, bro, what's happening? And in the end, I was like, okay, now it all makes sense. Yeah. And another thing I want to tell you, the last thing I want to tell you, really is about Sierra Madre. Now, Sierra Madre is probably the best place to go to get beer in Monterrey. And I was very unfortunate in a way, because I only ever went to Sierra Madre in the end of my gap year. But I thought I should tell you this, because at one point very early on I was invited to go, and I went with some solteros who are singles, and I met a lot of people and we interacted. But I just thought it'd be an interesting fact to know Sierra Madre. And last thing I want to tell you before we stop this video is about the General Assembly. So at one point I told you that I went for a meeting, a community meeting, but that was only a part of the community. And so at this point, on one Sunday, I was able to experience the whole community. So that was 2,000 people strong, and in that same basketball court that I mentioned last time. And it was just so amazing to see 2,000 people come together, and we had kids and older people and everybody, and it was just mind-blowing, right? And so yeah, please like, subscribe, share, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next week.